That's better. Forgot to turn my mic on. Although I'll be screaming now. He hasn't got his mic on. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Okay, folks, it's Sunday night. This is the first. It's been a long, long time since we have been live on a Sunday night. But you know what it was? I was sitting over the weekend there, and I know what it's like over a bank holiday weekend. You generally get pissed off, don't you? And you're absolutely bored, stupid. So I thought we would come on tonight to do a wee bit of a special. Don't forget, folks, if you are in, please comment on YouTube. We're live as well, and we're also live on Facebook tonight. Right, before I do the roll call, as they say, I'm going to tell you what's coming up this week because we're actually quite busy this week, so we are. Right, so tonight we have our special bank holiday special. Tonight we have our bank holiday special. That makes sense. You know what I mean? And Tuesday night. Okay, Tuesday night we have part two of our virtual coach trip. Now, if anyone remembers the last one, it was a gag. It was an absolute laugh. Plus, also, we got to see some lovely places around Northern Ireland, but we're going to see some more on Tuesday, and I'm working on doing maybe on some sort of areas that people maybe don't know about, because usually when you hear about Northern Ireland, it's always about the Glens of Antrim and the Giant's Causeway and all that there, but I'm not having it, no. So we're going to be having a look around different areas on Tuesday night. So that's our coach trip, and I'm Michelle McGrogan. Our Michelle McGrogan's driving the bus, getting our Sam Phyllis and Andy Illion are out Monday and Tuesday singing the sandwiches again. Now, our John McMaster, Andy Illion's nephew, he has requested just a plain ham sandwich. Now, how you request things when you're stealing things is completely different. But anyway, I'll tell Illion to make sure that he gets a ham sandwich because apparently he doesn't like egg and onion. He's a bit of a plain eater. Desperate. So that's this Tuesday night. And then on Friday night's gonna be alright. We have Auntie Lillian, the Lisburn bombshell herself, is here on Friday night for another Check It Out with Auntie Lillian. And this time she is tasting ice cream. That's going to be interesting trying to keep that frozen because our freezer's outside, so she's going to have to bring it in at the last minute and put it in the fridge and hope it stays solid. She's heard that before. Right, so let's see all who is in. Right, over on YouTube so far, our Matthew McGinley's in. Hello, Matthew. Nice to see you. He's on YouTube tonight. He's being polished. By the way, folks, if you're looking at me funny and you see something, for some reason my eye has been great for weeks. Not an issue, not a thing. It's not hurting me. But Lee said to me on Friday night, it was a Friday night, he says to me on Friday night, Stuart, your eyes all red. And I don't know if there's a wee vessel or something has whatever. But I don't know if it's to do because we've had fans on in the house because obviously with this heat and I might have had a draft in it. But it's not causing me any harm. It's not causing me any issues. It's just very, very red. But it's fine. I have to go back to the Cathedral Eye Clinic on Wednesday for my checkup. So I'm hoping it'll be cleared up. By then, Matt says, before I go over to Facebook, Matt says, I love the clock. It looks swell. Isn't it lovely? My new clock, the Chatterhouse clock with the tree of life in it. Right, let's go to Facebook and see who's in. Right, here we go. Okay, straight through the door, speaking of the devil, was our John McMaster, who is Auntie Williams' honorary nephew. Yes, he got a lovely blue, sky blue Auntie Lillian t-shirt there the other day. He was all pleased there. Auntie Lillian has her favourite. Right, who else is in? Our Jackie McFarlane's in, as if one day I should become a singer with a Spanish bum who sings for women of great virtue. She's through the door. Sam Davison is through the door. Hi, everyone, he's saying. Jackie saying hi to John. Our Miss Chatterhouse herself, Michelle McGrogan's through the door there. Haha. Yes, she says, evening, welcome to you all. Catherine Playfair's in. Why did I say it like that? I don't know, but I said it anyway. Our Catherine's in. Haha. Jackie saying hello to Sam. Maria Tateson. Maria, you've got to see her. I haven't seen her in a way. I was thinking about her the other day, dear. Our Tracy is in. Wee Wheels. Hi, everyone. How you, Tracy? John saying hello to Jackie. Sam saying hello to Jackie. Jackie saying hello, Stuart. Hello, Jackie. Phyllis is in as well, apparently. Maria saying, Tracy, how are you, my dear friend? Sam says, for me and Phyllis. Sam says, hello, Stuart, for me and Phyllis. Hello from Phyllis again. Sue Meal said, nice to see you, Sue, love. There's our Selena Bigson. Hiya, Selena. Selena, I just want to say I'm very, very sorry about the passing of your dad. I did see that it had happened, so I do apologise that I haven't messaged you or anything. But I just want to say our condolences all from the Chatterhouses with you and your husband and family. So I'm very, very sorry to hear about that. Who else in there? John McMaster saying, and I love it. It's on his t-shirt. Carrie Ferguson said, my local historians and Derek Carey. I was nice seeing her today on the wee chat. Maria says, hope you're all good. Love and good, alright, Maria. Surviving there. If we could just get a bit of sleep. It's very difficult with this bloody heat at the minute. John's got a wee heart sign there. Jeez, oh, jeez, I've cut the comments off. Hold on. Hold on a minute, folks. Sorry about that. And John says, was the perfect size too. And he's talking about the t-shirt. A great fit. If I've missed anybody, I do apologise because I did cut the comments off. By the way, folks, this is going to be the last night I'm going to have to wear this headset because we're getting all this new equipment coming. I'm getting a new headset and I'm getting the mic thing that comes down. I have the big arm and I speak into it. It's going to improve the quality of the videos and stuff as well. So there you go. Selena says, thank you so much. Very welcome, Selena. If you need anything, just let me know. Right, okay. As you can see by tonight's title, this is going to be a bit of a strange one tonight. In the Chatter House, and when it used to be the Natter House, we covered things went bump in the night. We've talked about paranormal things. I know some of you weren't members then. Sue got a new job. Congratulations, our Sue. Carrie says, well, you're going all out with a new kit then. Yes, Carrie, because it's needed. It really is needed. So anyway, what was going to say? Yes, so in the Natter House, when we were the old Natter House, we did cover, our paranormal experiences of our own. Everybody shared their experiences and whatever. So we've done all that before. We might do it again because we have also got a lot of new members. So that could be another wee future night coming up as well. But this one tonight, folks, is going to be in two parts, somehow tangled up. So it is. So the first part is about one person. The second part tonight is going to be a mixture of videos that can't be explained. Okay? So let's start at the very beginning. And this story, now, if I pronounce this girl's name wrong, I will be corrected. It's either Eliza or Elise Lam. So it's Eliza or Elise Lam. Now, this girl, I don't want to tell you too much of the story because the video is going to tell you the story. But this girl came to a very, very awful, in the end, she came to a very, very awful death. Okay? And the jury's out what happened and, how she came to be where she was. Now, I'm going to warn you, folks. This video is about, now I'm going to be honest with you, now, what way are you pronouncing Lamb? L-A-M. It's spelled L-A-M, John. Right. Okay. So, This video we're going to look at, folks, I'm going to do it the way I did it the last night with the missing people. I'm going to watch it with you and pause it and react as we go along. Now, just to let you know, this video is about 20 minutes long. So it is, but it covers the whole story. It's not boring, and it's very, very interesting. Now, one thing I will say before I put it on, we do see some footage of this girl, and there's footage of her in a lift, an elevator, or a lift, or whatever you want to call it, right? It's weird, and it's a wee bit, maybe shake you up a wee bit, because it's weird, okay? Everything tonight, folks, I'm just warning you, um, it's a bit sort of iffy, okay? Not iffy, but if you don't like scary things, it's not frightening. It's just really, I find it very, very intriguing. That's the word. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this Lillian would say the black box up right on time, right? And then we'll watch the video. Um, and what I'll do is I'll be at the side. Again, I'm going to have to turn my mic off in between because of the echo. So when I pause it, it might take me a wee minute to speak because I've turned my mic back on. This is why I'm getting all the new equipment. Right, so let's get the video up. Let's get cracking. Once again, disclaimer, folks, just be ready, okay? So this is the story of Eliza or Elise Lam. Okay, so here we go. You see me trying to organize this now? Let me see. Right, wasn't that a lovely color? Right, here we go. So the video is going to start straight away. Sam says he's seen the video loads of times, but you're actually going to hear the story as well, Sam. So here we go, folks. This is the story of Eliza or Elise Lam. Hopefully.
Lam Yo-hee, better known to her peers at the University of British Columbia and popular culture at large as Elise Lam, was a bright, thoughtful, and imaginative student. Her interests in fashion and talents for writing were weighed down by the unfortunate demons of bipolar disorder and mental suppression, clouding the circumstances that most assume led to her initial vanishing and tragic death. Amateur sleuths and professional investigators alike have spent the better part of almost 9 years digging theoretical tunnels and holding magnifying glasses up to anything and everything that might shed that one decisive clue in the ultimate reason behind Elise Lam's demise. These probes and pursuals, combined with assorted observable evidence, have only created headaches more than they've solved questions, leaving the uncracked mystery up for grabs by anyone willing to rise to the challenge. As I hope to provide a more substantial reasoning built upon observable evidence and situational analysis, this is an examination of the bizarre circumstances surrounding Elise Lam's confusing death. This is Cold Case Detective.
By the way, folks, Carrie has just commented there are so many negative associations with the Cecil Hotel or the Cecil Hotel. It has a really dark history where we're actually going to hear some of its history as well. So let's continue.
Elise Lam was born on April 30th, 1991, in Vancouver, British Columbia, to two immigrants from Hong Kong, David and Yina Lam. Her parents opened up a restaurant in Burnaby, Canada, and the family helped operate the popular dining spot called Paul's Restaurant for years. In 2010, Elise started her first blog on the internet, titled Ether Fields. Throughout the next couple of years, she used the platform to showcase her love of fashion and clothing, often posting magazine articles and fashion-related photography. She would also openly speak about her struggles with mental illness, constantly fearing her transcript would show her frequently dropped classes and sporadic college attendance. However, she also wrote honestly about her thoughts and ideas on psychology, emotion, and the human spirit. Throughout these blogs, she kept records of her own musings while sharing stories that reflected a bright mind and intelligent thinker. Written in her final blog on Ether Fields, Elise announced she would be transferring her energy and social media presence to Tumblr, starting a page called Nouvelle Nouveau, translated as News New. On her page, Elise shared thousands of images and pieces of writing, both her own and of various authors. It was apparent on Tumblr that she held deep-rooted interests in classical books and films, experimental art and design, and fashion and culture. Sprinkled amongst these fascinations were bits of dark and brooding images, hinting at a more personal sadness and perhaps conflicted mind, full of monsters, melancholy, and misery. In fact, Elise did have a history with a couple of psychological disorders. This narrative kept under wraps by her family for months after her disappearance and death. Specifically, she was diagnosed for bipolar disorder and depression. Bipolar disorder is a mental illness that causes depression itself, in addition to instances of abnormal and elevated mood called mania or hypermania. To treat these disorders, Elise took multiple medications, such as Dexedrine, Wellbutrin, and mood stabilizers. For most of her life, Elise functioned without major ramifications as a result of these struggles. And until the fateful trip to Los Angeles in 2013, she had shown zero signs of breakdown or danger to either herself or to others. With these characteristics in mind, it's important to remember Elise Lam as a human being, not a diagnosis. She was a promising student at the University of British Columbia, and obviously had a plethora of ideas about the world. She had a family, hobbies, and most importantly, a future. Unfortunately, it was cut short of its potential, as the mystery of her fate began to unravel in December of 2012. Now let's explore the timeline of events leading to Elise's death. On December 21st, 2012, Elise gives the first recorded mention of her desire to travel to the West Coast and visit a school in Santa Clara for potential transfer. A week later, on December 28th, Elise mentions on Tumblr that her cell phone has been misplaced. After the new year, on January 5th, 2013, Elise mentions planning for her West Coast tour, and for the first time, suggests meeting up with people via the internet. A couple of days later, on January 7th, Elise books her flight for the West Coast tour and tacks on a very eerie message regarding the future on Tumblr. Then, on January 9th, Elise posts on Tumblr that due to paranoia she has made a new Facebook account for the 5th time, and reposts a blurb she had written earlier that day. Before the blurb is an introduction, in which she claims, "This is the very start of my depression, and today I am feeling very low." Fast forward to January 18th, when Elise supposedly arrives in Vancouver on her tour. 4 days later, on January 22nd, she supposedly travels to San Diego for the next leg in her journey, after missing her initial flight while getting lost in the airport. On January 24th, Elise posts on Tumblr that her trip so far has consisted mostly of activities and actions that she participates in back at home on a normal schedule. With this post, she hints at her later actions in Los Angeles when she says, "Every now and then I do something entirely impulsive and reckless." A few days later, on January 27th, she posts again on Tumblr that she was out with friends at a speakeasy and had in fact lost another phone. Although this time it did not belong to her, instead she had borrowed her friend's old BlackBerry for her trip. The next day, January 28th, Elisa arrives in LA and checks into the Cecil Hotel near Skid Row, a budget motel for tourists in the city. On January 30th, Elisa's anonymous roommates complain of her odd behavior, and she is moved to a private room on the 5th floor so that she isn't a disturbance to other guests. On January 31st, the last day of her planned visit in LA, Elisa is seen for the last time by a couple of anonymous hotel workers, and then finally by a clerk, Katie Orphan, at the local bookstore, who mentioned Elisa was by herself, but also outgoing, very lively, and very friendly. Orphan also said she was talking about what book she was getting, and whether or not what she was getting would be too heavy for her to carry around as she traveled. Because Elisa was supposed to check out of the Cecil Hotel that day and travel to Santa Cruz for the last leg on her tour, both her parents were waiting for a phone call. In fact, Elisa had called her parents almost every night during her trip, despite losing her temporary cell phone. After they heard nothing from their daughter, Mr. and Mrs. Lam flew to Los Angeles to file a missing persons report and assist the Los Angeles police.
Okay, folks, just a wee recap. That is to say, she's got the Cecil Hotel, which is near Skid Row. John says, I think I watched a documentary about Skid Row. I'm sure Ross Kemp did it. I think Skid Row is actually not a very great area. Maybe I am incorrect, but I just think it's a bit rough as well. Just to let you know that AJ Walker has arrived and Killian has arrived. Good evening, folks. So let's continue.
Police department in their search. Throughout the first week of February, both the Lam couple and the LAPD scoured the Cecil and the surrounding areas for any trace of Elisa. Police dogs were unable to pick up on her scent, and for the first few days, no clues were uncovered. Elisa's room that she stayed in prior to her disappearance was void of any suspicious items or signs of disturbance, an unsettling occurrence for such a strange vanishing. On February 6th, the LAPD released an official statement online regarding Elisa Lam's disappearance and details surrounding the case, urging citizens to keep an eye out for her profile. A day later, they hold a press conference on February 7th, but again, receive no leads or calls from the general public. Then on February 14th, LAPD releases the biggest bombshell in the entire case, an elevator surveillance clip from February 1st, showing Elisa Lam walk in the elevator, press a series of buttons, and proceed to act in a bizarre manner. The clip was unsettling to say the least, but gave investigators one more glimpse into Lam's final sighting, and brought the case to worldwide attention. The missing persons search would soon come to an end, however, when on February 19th, a Cecil Hotel worker responded to multiple guest complaints about funny-smelling water and low faucet pressure. The employee went up to the rooftop water system, peered into the open tank, and discovered Elisa Lam's naked body floating face up. LAPD was immediately notified, and the water tanks soon became a crime scene. A couple of days thereafter, on February 21st, the Los Angeles Coroner's Office issued a label of Elisa Lam's death as accidental, due to the consequence of drowning, with bipolar disorder as a finding of other conditions contributing but not related to the immediate cause of death. On June of 2013, the full coroner's report, along with the toxicology results, were released to the public as well. While not revealing any massive twists to the mystery, it did note that Elisa Lam's body was indeed found naked, with her clothes also found in the water tank, covered in a sandy particulate, along with her keys and watch. From here on out, thousands of theories, hypotheticals, conspiracies, and simple casual conversations have been discussed through the following months and years. Nobody seemed to want to stick by the LA Coroner's Office and their findings. Many questioned the police investigation, and even more saw possible holes in the final report. Regardless, the timeline of Elisa Lam's death and its direct series of events blossomed into the most talked about case of the 21st century.
Investigating this.
Without a doubt, the most controversial and scrutinized piece of the Elise Lam case is the 4-minute CCTV footage that the LAPD pulled from one of the Cecil Hotel surveillance.
Okay, folks, once again, even though we're just seeing a wee bit of it now, you are just about to see, I know some of you have seen it, but you're just about to see the full footage.
Tapes, situated in the upper corner of a main elevator carriage in the northern corridor. Before we dive deep into its content, let's watch the main portion of the video. Viewer discretion is advised. The following images are unsettling and could be viewed as sensitive material. The video is a bit grainy, and segments of it are hard to clearly make out. But one thing is for certain. Elise Lam is the subject of the footage, and is clearly reacting to something. Now, what that something is will likely never be accounted for with 100% certainty, but it does make the clip that much stranger. It makes one wonder if Elise is peering out of the elevator with the sense that she's being followed. One could argue she's talking out loud at certain points, possibly just to herself. Between the random buttons pressed on her entrance, to the emptiness of the hallways, to the undistinguished hand gestures and body positions she makes, the rhyme and reason of the video is impossible to explain on a first watch. There have also been some controversies surrounding the tape's origins. Some people across the internet claim the footage skips 1 minute of the timecode, but because of its low quality, it's not easy to point out. Others say the footage itself has been tampered with, purposefully pixelating Elise's mouth at various points. But these reports have either been denied or flat out ignored by professionals. One thing is for sure, the elevator footage from February 1st, 2013, depicting the last known images of Elise Lam, have conjured both worthy concern and far-fetched conspiracies, and remains the single most intriguing piece of evidence linked to the case. And now let's examine the theories surrounding the mystery of Elise Lam's death. Since the day Elise Lam went missing, the CCTV tapes were released and her body was discovered on the rooftop of the Cecil Hotel. Countless theories have been proposed across the internet and publications all over the world, trying to unlock the secrets of the unexplainable mystery. Many of these assumptions are based purely in conspiracy theory. Some circles have drawn up wild fantasies that explain Elise was playing an elevator game, attempting to cross over into alternative universes. Others believe Elise was possessed by spiritual forces, encountered paranormal subjects, or was contacted by otherworldly beings. These are farcical attempts to glamorize Elise's death as science fiction or occultist, and are based upon zero observable evidence, connected by complex coincidental claims and hyperbole. For example, the location of the Cecil Hotel is in Skid Row of downtown Los Angeles. The area is infamous for its high crime rates and suspicious activity. Drug peddling and violent crime are common both outside and inside of the hotel, which has its own history of murder and suicide. In 1985, serial killer Richard Ramirez, dubbed as the Night Stalker, stayed in one of the 600 rooms of the Cecil in the midst of a killing spree that ended in the deaths of 13 women. Another homicide suspect, Jack Unterberger, stayed in the hotel in 1991. It was a frequent spot for those with suicidal tendencies, seeing a few people jump from the rooftop in the 1950s and 60s. It even housed another cold case, that of Pigeon Goldie Osgood, a former telephone operator whose mutilated body was discovered in her room in 1964. However, despite the criminology of the Cecil, none of it can be directly attributed to the death of Elisa. A much more plausible explanation is that Elise Lam was followed during her time in LA, chased in the hallways of the Cecil Hotel, and subsequently murdered and placed in the water tank by a second party. Initially, this theory made sense. If you go back to multiple Tumblr posts that Elisa made throughout the end of 2012 and beginning of 2013, she was conscious about her outspoken nature and feared that one day her mouth would get her into trouble. At various points, she wrote about unsettling anxieties. One post read, "I'm going out tonight. I really hope no creeper comes near me." At least twice, Elisa was convinced trouble was lurking around the corner at the fault of her tongue, saying, quote, "I really need to be removed from society before my big mouth gets me in trouble and I get beaten up," as well as, "My mouth is my downfall and it will get me in trouble. I already do so many stupid things. I have troubles knowing where boundaries are, and it seems I always make the biggest mistakes at the worst possible moments and get caught and face consequences for me getting caught the one time I wasn't thinking and did something stupid to cut corners." Taking this into consideration, her own admission that she frequently sparked arguments with strangers around her, it is plausible she came into a confrontation at the wrong place and at the wrong time that winter. In addition to Elisa's worries is the manner in how she acts during the elevator footage. After she enters for the first time and presses the floor buttons, she waits a few moments before slowly approaching the elevator's door frame. She then quickly sticks her head out in the hallway and glances from side to side in a hurried manner, then pulling back into the elevator. She pins herself against the wall and then into the corner, acting as if she was avoiding the vision of someone from outside. She goes back to the doorframe once more, and again, cautiously sticks her head into the open. From here, she makes a series of random movements before pressing more buttons. When she returns outside for the final time, it appears as if she's communicating either orally or with her hands. Regardless, no one is seen, and Elisa disappears from view. The first part of her movements could indicate she was hiding from another person, but her random footwork and dazed demeanor in the second part of the footage don't seem to make sense if she was truly on the run. The Tumblr post concerns, combined with the suspicious video, truly makes one wonder if there was someone involved with Elisa's death. But there are too many rebuttals to the argument that her cause of death was homicide. For instance, there were 0 bruises or signs of bodily harm on Elisa's figure, ruling out an assault. All of her belongings were accounted for besides the long-lost cell phone, ruling out robbery or attempted robbery. The eyewitness testimonies by hotel employees and the bookstore clerk claim she was completely alone and showed no signs of struggle or distress regarding another person. Cameras captured no other suspects around the time of Elisa's recording, and her lack of relationships in a new territory helped rule out a planned or gestated murder, as she had very little friends back at home, let alone Los Angeles.
Okay, folks, just want to pause for 1 minute. Tracy turned around and said there, I seen a comment there, why did the lift door not close? I think it mentions as we go along, when she was pressing the button, she also was hitting the door open button. But the thing about it was, my experience with an open door button on a lift, that it only sort of acts for a certain length of time. But I do know some lifts you can, over in America especially, you can press a button and the lift, that will stay there until you release it. So that's one theory. But then the argument is when she leaves the lifts, the door actually closes over. And there it said about, she was saying about her mouth getting her into trouble and saying things. You've got to remember this girl, was suffering from depression. She was also has bipolar as well, which is really, really erratic behavior. She was maybe saying things she didn't mean. She was being outspoken. She was saying things that you or I wouldn't say. It was just sporadic behavior, erratic behavior. That's why she was getting into trouble all the time, I feel, because of her bipolar. Because, I actually know people who have bipolar, and they can be very erratic. This girl seemed to be really, really struggling with it. It didn't seem to be under control, you know what I mean? If you remember back to the beginning of the video, her parents were always concerned about her medication. She never took it properly. So there's a few things for you. And as people say, God love her. It's awful to watch. John says it could have been drink or drugs. She was convinced that there was someone after her, but then again, I think that's part of the paranoia of the bipolar. Maybe I'm speaking wrong, but I'm just giving you my theory of it, But as everybody said, God love her. I just wanted to say something as well. Did you see her hands? The movement in her hands. I couldn't even move my hands like that. They were really twisted out and stuff. But look, we'll continue on anyway. As I say, this is absolutely, I'm not going to say it's brilliant or whatever. It's just fascinating. I find it really, really fascinating. So let's continue.
In the end, there was zero evidence confirming these theories about murder or foul play, leading us, just as the LAPD did, to rule murder out. All that being said, the official opinion of the LA Chief Coroner and assigned medical examiners presents a catch-22. They preface their final hypothesis with a warning that the interpretation of the evidence is limited because the sample size is small, particularly the lack of blood samples tested due to low levels. However, they then contradict themselves when they say that the police investigation ruled out foul play, but also stated, quote, "A full review of the circumstances of the case and appropriate consultation do not support intent to harm oneself. The manner of death is classified as accident." So if there was no harmful intention, either by Lam herself or a second suspect, then how exactly did Elisa accidentally climb up a massive cylinder, discover it was a water tank, lift up an incredibly heavy lid, and jump into the dark water? And if the lid was already opened, why did she choose to climb in as a response? Murder and suicide are polar opposite explanations that have both been deemed inapplicable. Believers that Elisa was killed by somebody else linger over the fact that the rooftop access was protected by alarms on the doors, and the fact that her accessing the water tanks required agility and strength. However, it has been repeatedly explained that the hotel has 4 different access points to the roof, 3 by fire escape that have no alarms, and that the water tank lids were either opened or lighter than originally assumed, easily operated by a woman of Elisa's size. So now we must find the middle ground between the two explanations and justifiably theorize how such a specific, unarguable set of circumstances could be regarded as an accident. The most plausible and evidential theory is that Elise Lam suffered a manic episode due to her struggles with bipolar disorder, both leading up to and on the day of February 1st. To start, we must consider the toxicology reports. 2 different antidepressant medicines prescribed to Elisa were either traced directly or metabolites were traced to her heart, blood, and liver enzymes. One of these drugs was bupropion, known to sometimes cause mania in bipolar disorder. Another mood-stabilizing medicine had metabolites traced to her enzymes, but Elisa's antipsychotic medicine was not found in her system. So in review, Elisa had only taken one of her prescribed drugs the day she passed, and had only taken the others recently, if not at all, in the days leading up to her death. The toxicology report also confirms that Elisa had no alcohol in her system, or other recreational drugs. This rules out the possibility that she had been under the influence of substances while on camera in the elevator, or that something such as marijuana, pills, or drunkenness inspired her to climb into the tank. Her liver was not tested for rohypnol, better known as roofies. There was no urine in the system, meaning that she excreted any and all liquid waste urine that would contain traces of roofies, ketamine, or other date rape paraphernalia before entering the tank. So reflecting on the information regarding her history with mental disorders and the calculated prescription use and lack thereof, we must next understand what exactly an episode of mania is. Several mania can include psychotic features, such as hallucinations, delusions, paranoia, catatonia, and lack of insight. One mental health professional uses the phrase disorganization, yet appearing singularly focused, highlighting its occurrence when Elisa presses the buttons in the elevator at random, appearing intent on some kind of agenda or direction. Symptoms of mania also include psychomotor agitation, which involves repetitive, purposeless, or unintentional movements and behaviors. Dr. Daniel Morrill reviews in a medical journal that these actions can result in the wringing of the hands, pacing, and taking off clothes repeatedly. All three behaviors were exhibited by Elisa, both in the elevator footage and in or around the water tanks. The fact that Elise Lam attempted to go to the roof at all could be a response to hallucinations or delusions. What these might have been are unknown, and it would be unfair to Elisa's memory to assume and fictionalize her mental illness. It is important to note that manic hallucinations are not just visual, but can be manifestations of sound, smell, taste, and touch, another possible explanation to her removing of clothing. In combination with the inconsistent prescription upkeep, the pure fact that Elisa was in a foreign location with a lack of communication back home could have set off a manic episode. The people Elisa had been staying with since she booked a shared room with fellow guests stated that Elisa was acting strangely, to the point where she was bothering the others and had to be moved to another room by herself. The last piece of promising evidence supporting this theory came to us in a testimony from a confidential resident, to be referenced as Resident A from Los Angeles, California, who wishes for both them and their family to be kept anonymous. After hearing about our investigation into the case of Elise Lam and having little to no prior knowledge of this scenario, Resident A told us that a few years ago, they had a family member in Mexico commit suicide as a result of manic depression or bipolar disorder. Resident A stated that this family member died from drowning after plunging into the depths of a similar industrial water tank. Resident A also stated that this was a common occurrence for the family member, who, as a result of their bipolar disorder, seeked out bodies of water whenever suffering from a bout of mania. Resident A confirmed that this family member was about 35 years old when they passed away, but had been suffering from mental illness for over a decade, and had an inclination to run away and find attraction to water throughout the years. While this case has no direct relation to Elise Lam, it's peculiar that both instances involve a confirmed bipolar subject who, as a result of their condition, drowned because of an unconscious gravitation to water. There is hardly any research done in the medical or psychological field regarding this phenomena, but we are incredibly interested if there are other situations like this one. If anything, it further suggests that Elisa's reason for selecting the Cecil Hotel's water tank may not be a mystery, but a tragic symptom of her psychological illness. In the end, taking all evidence, scientific research, and social patterns into account, we've determined that the initial report from the chief coroner is accurate in that Elise Lam died accidentally due to drowning, as an indirect result of bipolar disorder. While other theories were briefly discussed, their complete lack in observable evidence and origins from make-believe prevented them from serious consideration. The reason this case fascinated followers all over the world and produced incessant gossip and conspiracies is the fact that it's hard for people to accept simple, innocent explanations for complex and unsettling situations. Psychological disorders are heavily stigmatized, even today, but also very misunderstood. People don't want to accept that Elise Lam was suffering from hallucinations due to bipolar disorder, because that's only in her mind, and they struggle accepting such indistinction. Instead, it's far easier to tell our own versions of what we want to have happened, something more fantastical or intriguing than mental illness. For example, some people believe another party was involved because Lam's cell phone was missing and her Tumblr remained active for months following her death. Yet the simple answer is her original phone was lost weeks before her trip, and Tumblr will populate active accounts with posts in the likeness of their previous content for a brief time after they go dark. People also couldn't wrap their brains around the fact that Elisa made it to the rooftop and into the water tanks undetected. However, it is quite simply laid out in the undisputed material facts and supporting evidence section of the motion for summary judgment document after the Cecil Hotel was sued for its role in Elisa's death. In Box 10, it states that, quote, "The rooftop access door is equipped with an electronic alarm system which alerts hotel employees when the rooftop access door has been opened," followed by Box 14 that states, quote, "The alarm for the rooftop access door was not activated at any point in January or February 2013. This means that Elisa used one of the 3 fire escapes to reach the rooftop, which was proven possible by an international guest at the Cecil Hotel via a YouTube demonstration. In addition, the motion for summary judgment reports in Box 20 that, quote, "Someone could theoretically access the water tank by climbing to the top of an elevator utility room and jumping down on the water tank from above." This photo depicts the elevator utility room in question, which allows easy access from a red set of stairs and a joined ladder. The leap from that structure to the water tanks is also quite negligible, as seen put to scale with the size of a human portrayed here. In terms of the elevator video, our story-centric minds want to fill in the hallways on either side of the elevator with monsters and perpetrators and supernatural phenomena. But in reality, there was nothing out of sort on the night of February 1st, 2013. Only Elise Lam truly knew what she saw and what she felt the day she disappeared. And it's up to us to trust that it was the unfortunate unpredictability of mental illness that caused these emotions, and the actions that resulted as such. After all, Elisa was a young woman who had recently gone through intense emotional roller coasters with an identity crisis and building anxieties revolving around her purpose in life. She was somewhat aware of impending depression and admitted online that she could tell she was leaning towards more impulsive and reckless tendencies after the fact, a glaring sign of potential mania. She was about the age that many young people start to experience what are called breakthrough symptoms of both bipolar spectrum and schizophrenia spectrum tendencies. The unfamiliar surroundings of Skid Row, LA, potential insomnia, mixed with an absence of proper medicine, compounded her confusion and eventual mania. There is no one ruling factor that led to Elise Lam's harrowing death. Instead, it was a combination of nature and circumstance, heightened by coincidental video recordings that cultivated a gross amount of inconsiderate internet conspiracy. Let this examination of the bizarre circumstances surrounding Elise Lam's death be a step in the process of ending the stigmatization around her struggles with disorder and mental illness in general. Elisa was a wonderful human being with infinite potential. She had interests and hobbies and dislikes, as all of us do. She has a family who still honor her memory. It is time for us to do the same and take lessons where we can. Look after those with mental health issues and speak up about it before we create another tragic saga like that of Elise Lam. This is Cold Case Detective.
And there you go, folks. Do you know something? That poor girl. That's all I can say. That bipolar disorder seems to be I don't know very much about it. I know a bit more about it now. It's unbelievable. That poor girl. May she rest in peace. Carrie says if they didn't find traces of urine in the tank, she must have been dead before she went in. Your body loses all functions when you pass. And Carrie also says, whatever the reasoning behind her death, is such a sad occurrence. So there you go, folks. It's awful. I just don't know what to say. It's just so sad. So sad. It really, really is. Yes, it's fascinating, as I say, to what, as I say, when we seen the left, it's a fascinating story. And I must admit that YouTube channel, Cold Cases, actually did a very, very good video there. I must admit it was really, really informative. I hope you agree. Okay, folks, so what we're going to do is now we're going to take a wee short break and we will be back. The second half's going to be a wee bit shorter. I have three or four more little short videos to show you. By the way, folks, could you just somebody comment there, please, so I can just see the comments? You're still working okay? Because sometimes these comments stop in Facebook. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a wee short break. Maria's tape said it was brilliant, so it's working. Right, so we're going to have a wee short break, and then we'll be back with three or four little short videos. Now, these are more on the paranormal side, these little videos. It's from a YouTube channel called Slapped Ham, I think it's called, yeah. Carrie says that was very fascinating. Looking forward to what comes next. So the next half is going to be more of the paranormal side of things. That was like a murder, sort of mystery, sort of, even though it wasn't a murder, it was accidental. Okay, so I'm going to leave you Auntie Lillian here for a wee short break, and I'll be back in about 5 minutes. So I'll see you in a minute. Now, wait a say. You know me and these things. Hang on. Here we go. See you in a minute. Here's your Auntie Lillian there. Aha. Back for our reaction, dear. I just get self-comfortable in the seat, dear. Well, today, we are going to do a special one, dear. We've got our Kate Bush. No, our Kate Bush, dear. No, she's a wee bit eccentric. But when I tell you something, dear, do you see Kate Bush? She's very, very clever lady, dear. She wrote all her own songs and all great girl. Well, today we are going to be listening to, it's a song called Babushka. Again, Andy Again has heard the song, but I haven't seen the video, so this is going to be a first for me, and if it's a first for you, I hope you enjoy it, dear. Let's get it up there. The black box, we'll see, dear. There it is. I haven't seen it for a couple of days, so here we go. Here is our Kate Bush and a Babushka. I'm sure it's going to be an interesting one, dear, because all her videos are interesting. So here we go. You see what I mean?
She knew exactly what to do. Suiting in to fool him, she couldn't have made a worse move. She sent him scented letters, and he.
That looks like me when I go to the funerals when I'm sticking sandwiches. I got one of my veils on there. The audience desperate there. Sorry, I'm not interrupting again.
Received them with a strange delight, just like his wife, but how she was before the tears, and how she was before the years flew by, and how she was when she was beautiful. She sang the letter on, babushka, babushka, babushka.
Hang on. Oh my good God, Maddie dear. Just looks. We're gonna be better, but I want to get a better look at this. Hang on. Oh my God. She looks like She-Ra, He-Man's cousin dear. Oh my good God almighty, isn't that great? Fair play dear. Hang on. Let's continue. And I think it's other interesting ones dear.
Babushka, 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 yeah, yeah. She wanted to take it further, so she arranged a place to go.
Auntie William's mesmerise.
Uncanny how she reminds him of his little lady. Capacity to give him all he needs. Just like his wife before she breathed on him. Just like his wife when she was beautiful.
Here we go.
Shouted out, I'm all yours. Babushka, 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 yeah, yeah. All yours. Babushka, babushka.
I think I should get that outfit too for one of my shows, dear. Auntie William would turn heads, dear, wearing that.
Babushka, babushka, yeah, yeah. All yours. Babushka, 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 yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Babushka, 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 yeah, yeah. Babushka, 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 yeah, yeah. Babushka, 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 yeah,
well, you can shut your mouth. What I tell you, some? As for, I'm just gonna start singing again. That's the first time you've ever seen her on the Alien speak to us here. Well, honestly, but you know something? She is absolutely tremendous. She does things her own way. She writes all her songs, and I don't know what the history is, but apparently she was very, very successful. Dear, I think she won awards as well, dear. What the Alien is mesmerized here. I have never heard anything like it in my life. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Against the anti-Alien seal of approval, dear. Look, if you enjoyed that wee reaction, please give this video a thumbs up. And also, if you haven't subscribed to Anti-Alien's channel, why not? Because it doesn't cost you a penny. Not one shilling, dear. And also, if you subscribe, don't forget to hit the ding, 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 the wee notification bell, dear. And that means every time there's a video goes up there, you will be notified. I hope you're all, I was going to say shocked. Enjoyed that the way Auntie Alien did. I'm sitting here absolutely mesmerized. I have that in my head all day. But like, Auntie Alien loves you all, and she'll see you all very soon. And the most important thing is, get it up you while you're young. See you later. And there you go. There you go. By the way, folks, if you haven't subscribed to Auntie Alien's YouTube channel, it's at Auntie Alien. And the Chatterhouse YouTube channel is at Chatterhouse. I did a double reaction yesterday to ABBA. It was ABBA Day yesterday, and also Auntie Alien did a double reaction to ABBA yesterday as well. There's loads of reactions there, and you gotta laugh at some of them. Right, so here we are. We're back again. Right, as I said before the break there, the first part of the night was basically the story of Elise Lam, right? Now, this is different. These are videos, and the YouTube channel is called Slapped Ham, believe it or not, right? And these are little short videos which can't be explained. You know, they've been posted by people on the internet, and these people look at them and whatever. Now, what I'm going to say to you is, if you are watching on a phone, look up very, very closely to see what's going on. But normally they'll put arrows and stuff up to let you see. And just notice there, Sam says he watches Slapped Ham and he likes Kate Bush as well. Right, so let's get Slapped Ham up. So what do we see now? Here's Stuart going to go again here now. So let's get the black box up. Right, so here is Slap Tam, and again, I'll be at the side and I'll be watching with you. So here we go.
You're about to witness some of the scariest videos that are trending right now. Let's take a look. In this creepy clip uploaded to TikTok by user Whispers from the Darkness, we see what's supposedly a snippet of Ring doorbell camera footage captured a little after 3:34 in the morning. Take a look at what it shows. While the footage is short and there's little information available, it doesn't make it any less unnerving. The clip shows two people, possibly a young man and a woman, the pair holding hands as they walk through a clearing towards a forested area. However, if you look carefully, you can see that there's another figure in the bushes waving their arm as if beckoning the couple to come closer.
Right, folks, just to let you know, this was picked up on somebody's Ring doorbell at 3:30 in the morning. What's going on? Weird, weird, weird.
Unfortunately, the video ends before we find out what happens next. So what do you think this video shows? Was the couple in some sort of trance-like state, lured into the darkness by a paranormal creature? Watch the clip again and let me know your take in the comments down below. On January 28th, 2024, the TikTok sphere was taken by a spine-chilling post from the account known as Bow Hunt Bros. This duo, typically showcasing their adventures in bow hunting and archery, took a surprising turn when they stumbled upon something far more unsettling during a routine forest expedition. Take a look. Subsequent posts from the OP have reassured followers that they emerged from the ordeal unscathed. Yet the lingering question remains, what was behind these blood-curdling screams? Speculations run rampant, ranging from the possibility of encountering an unknown animal to the unsettling thought of a human in distress. Whatever the case may be, this wild encounter would leave even the most seasoned of hunters unsettled.
But I tell you something, see if that was me and I heard that, I'd be away getting a taxi or getting into the car out of the road. Now, what do you think that is? Do you think that is an animal or do you think that is a person? Me personally, it sounds like an animal. I don't know, but what do you think? AJ says about the last one there, that's a bit weird and creepy. It's like something out of the film. I actually think that sounds like an animal. A wild animal. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but it would scare the life out of you. Oh, I'd be away. I'd be way up the street there. Right, let's continue. Matt says, actually, before I go on here, an elk or something. Matt, I have to look up and see what an elk is, because I wouldn't have a clue. I'm not very good with nature. Right, let's carry on.
In this video, seen here uploaded to TikTok by user Children Disturbed, we see some doorbell camera footage showing a creepy person lurking in the hallway of an apartment building. The original footage was supposedly captured by a Twitter user from Dallas back in November 2021. According to the uploader, the suspicious man was captured outside the woman's apartment almost every night for an entire month.
So this person apparently, by the way, folks, could somebody say hello there in the comments? Maybe you're just all watching, you're quiet. I'm just appear to these comments going up. Would I tell you something? See if I knew that was outside my house for over a month. Did nobody phone the police or something, or did they not find out until afterwards? What? You know what I mean? What do we say? About that last video, AJ says sounds like a wild boar, and Desiree's did distress. It sounds like a wild boar in distress. He means I'd shit myself. Could somebody say hello there in Facebook comments, please? So I just know they're still working very quickly before we move on, because it's been very, very quiet in there. I just want to make sure they're working. I have a feeling they've stopped. Right, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come out and go back in again. What do we say? Here we go. They're working again. They're working again. Sorry about that, folks. The comments stopped there. Sam says, we're talking about the last video there. Sam says, it sounds like Lorna spelled it wrong. Female who killed her children and goes around in the night. Owen for them. Carrie says, oh my God. I'm talking about the person in the hallway. Oh my God, the person in the hallway is freaky. I'd be away like hell, and everybody's saying hello. Sorry about that, folks. About the comments. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go out and refresh and go back in again while we play this. So we'll go back into the video again. And by the way, AJ says if he's seen that stat, they said he'd be outside with a baseball bat. Right, let's carry on. I'm going to go out and refresh these comments. So here we go.
The man just seems to stand there, as if waiting for the woman to come out of her home. At one point, he can be heard talking to himself. However, the audio is difficult to make out. After the woman originally posted the footage to Twitter, many users reached out to her to make sure she was safe. 2 days later, she posted an update explaining that her family and friends had confronted the man and that security was now on the lookout for him. In light of this unsettling incident, it's crucial to emphasise the importance of vigilance in personal safety. Residents should remain alert to their surroundings, especially in residential areas. It's advisable to report any suspicious activities or individuals to the authorities promptly. A recent viral video circulating on social media has reignited fascination and speculation about the existence of sea serpents. Uploaded to Instagram by user SquatchWatch1, the footage captured an intriguing moment at an undisclosed beach, where a peculiar shape was spotted floating in the distant waters.
Bruh.
Witnesses present on the day described the bizarre sight as resembling a sea serpent emerging from the depths.
Bruh.
The concept of sea serpents, mythical or otherwise, has a rich and storied history deeply rooted in maritime folklore and legends. Tales of serpentine creatures lurking beneath the waves have been documented across cultures throughout the ages, captivating the imaginations of sailors, explorers, and coastal communities worldwide. In Norse mythology, the Midgard serpent, known as Jormungand, is a colossal sea creature said to encircle the world, symbolizing the cyclical nature of existence. Throughout history, reports of encounters with sea serpents have been documented in maritime literature and accounts of oceanic exploration. Sailors navigating treacherous waters have claimed to witness serpentine creatures with elongated bodies and reptilian features, often describing them as immense in size and possessing extraordinary abilities. In the 19th and early 20th centuries, sightings of sea serpents surged in popularity, particularly among seafaring communities in regions such as Scandinavia, North America, and the British Isles. Numerous eyewitness testimonies and purported photographic evidence fueled speculation about the existence of these mysterious marine creatures. However, skeptics and scientists have offered alternative explanations for sea serpent sightings, attributing them to misidentifications of known marine animals such as oarfish, giant squids or seals, as well as natural phenomena such as floating logs or waves. Despite advancements in marine biology and exploration, the true nature of these sightings remains a subject of debate and intrigue. Returning to the recent viral footage, speculation runs rampant as to the identity of the mysterious shape seen in the water. Could it be an undiscovered species of marine life, a hoax, or simply a trick of light and perspective? Without further evidence or scientific analysis, the truth behind the sighting remains elusive.
Bruh.
Arissa Kelly, a renowned international foot archery performer with a massive following on TikTok, recently encountered something spine.
Okay, folks, this one here coming up, you really have to look closely. You really need to look closely. I think I've got the comments sorted out on Facebook, folks, hopefully. It's a friggin' nightmare. Somebody just confirmed there. I think they're working again, hopefully. So let's continue. Look up very closely in this one. Tracy says, I couldn't get back into Facebook, couldn't find the live. Wouldn't surprise me, Tracy. I'm sorry about that, love. Where do we see?
Chilling while training alone in her studio. With over 1.6 million followers eagerly awaiting her next video, what she captured on camera has left her and her fans baffled. Late one night, well past 11 PM, Arissa found herself in her studio preparing to film a crossbow video for her TikTok audience. With safety in mind, she had set up the studio's alarms and motion sensors to alert her to any movement within the premises. Little did she know she was about to experience something far beyond the ordinary.
I'm just trying to get my angle for the video. But then I think I hear footsteps further down the building. Just watch my reaction.
In the quiet of the studio, Arissa suddenly hears the unmistakable sound of footsteps echoing from within the room.
It really sounded like there was someone walking through the building.
But it's what happens next that's left her utterly unnerved. Watch.
That's one.
It wasn't until later, while editing the footage she had captured, that Arissa discovered the chilling truth. In the video, she watched in disbelief as the curtains swayed, seemingly of their own volition.
That's one.
Searching the entire building for any sign of intruders, Arissa found nothing amiss. However, upon closer examination of the footage, she noticed a curious detail. While the curtains moved ominously, nothing else in the studio seemed affected. Not a single item shifted, not even the balloon fixed to her target. If there were a breeze or gust of wind, surely the balloon would have moved as well. Now faced with the unsettling prospect of her studio being haunted, Arissa and her followers are left grappling with the question, is there a paranormal presence lurking within the confines of her workspace? Or is there another, more rational explanation for these eerie occurrences?
That's one.
A Reddit user by the handle jhood3119 has stirred a wave of unease on the popular Humanoid Encounters subreddit with a chilling piece of CCTV security footage. The clip, purportedly captured in upstate New York, offers a perplexing glimpse into an eerie nocturnal encounter.
Okay, folks, there seems to be a problem on Facebook. Everybody's hopping over to YouTube. I don't know what is going on. I don't know what's happened, but apparently nobody can find the live. So if anybody is on YouTube, I think Carrie's still in. So she's But I think people are having problems. What do we say? Yeah, there seems to be a problem on YouTube, folks. Maria's over there too. I'm really, really sorry about this. I really, really am. I don't know what's happened, and to be quite truthful with you, it's going to be a nightmare for me to go back, to go out, to come back in again. Um, so yeah, what do we say? What do we say? What do we say? What do we say? Ba, 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 ba. The only way I can do it is, what do we say? Right, folks. Give me 5 minutes and I'll come back. Just give me 5 minutes, okay? I'm going to hop out and come back. So just give me 5 minutes, okay? I'm going to have to set up a new event here, so give me 5 minutes.